Believe Nation, we are live. Happy Thursday. We're going to do some Q&A. I'm going to play some League. I'm going to bring in my co-host. Hold on, let me put it in here. Ask us your questions. Hold on, we're doing it. Ask us your questions. Let me pin that. Hold on, pin it. Pin it. We're getting some yays. All right, I love it. Look at Marion. Look at the time. Guys, he's on time. He's ready to go. Change some lives with some Q&A. There he is.
What's up? What's up?
All good, man. How you doing?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Good, man. Today's been crazy. Thursday is my interview day, so nonstop chaos.
A bunch of podcasts, huh?
Yeah, now we got 3 back-to-back IG Lives. Here we are.
Let's go.
So Marion Asanu, digital marketing extraordinaire, consultant, what else? Game changer, leader, turning your expert knowledge into products that you can monetize and build an empire off of, because what did we talk about last? You got to bulletproof your business, guys, with Marion Asanu. It's happening. Okay, so here's what's happening, guys. I'm playing 3 games of League. I'm gonna try to win. Last time Marion and I went 1 and 2, so I'm not happy about that. We got to do better this time.
Yeah, we got to do better this time.
We're gonna do better. You guys ask questions. Marion will read it. He'll answer it. I'll answer it. Move on to the next one. So put your questions down below, and let's kick it off. Who's up first, Marion?
Peter, how do you find the right people for friends? I guess, how do you find the right people to become your friends?
Wow.
Man, so I guess...
What a question.
Yeah. The way that I look at it is, number one is we have to get along, right? Like if we don't get along, it's pretty hard to be friends, I guess. Number one thing that I, just kind of put that aside. The number one thing that I look at is our value. Like, do our values match? Like, for example, whatever I stand for, is it the same thing that the people that I surround myself with stand for, right? Like if people that are coming in my inner circle are not, positive, are not hungry to make things happen, are not hungry to, make a difference and help other people, just a few of the things that I stand out for, right? If those things are not the same kind of values for the person that kind of gets into my inner circle, it's probably not a good idea to be friends with, right? So I don't know exactly.
I'm smiling because I just had a flashback to last week where your earphones died or your phone died or something. So we'll see. Because I'm looking at your earbuds. I'm like, yeah, last time I had the earbuds too, but then he swapped because they died halfully through.
I got them charging now full time, so hopefully they're good.
He's ready to go. I think it's a great question. I think it starts with understanding who brings you energy. Most of the people that you're hanging around probably don't give you energy. They're taking your energy. You're sitting there giving your energy to so many other people, and some of us don't have people who then also give it back to us. I think that's the problem. That's for positive, optimistic, ambitious people who see the world in a great way. Most people don't think like that, and so you're genuinely that optimistic, positive person for other people. So when I think who when I leave, I feel better about myself, right? Not I feel drained. So even looking at this, like, why did I ask Marion to join me here? I asked 4 different people for 4 different days, right? Alex, Mark, Jeremy, who I'm all in business with, and then Marion, who I'm in business with, I guess, but like the least in terms of like an actual business partner that I'm seeing all the time, right? But I like Marion, and he always brings joy and energy. It's like, this is how I operate. Like, when I find somebody that I like, I try to figure out, how can I spend more time with this person? Like, what do we need to do to spend more time? So Marion's helping me with my ClickFunnels campaign, with my YouTube course. Now Marion's involved in helping with this, and who knows where it's going to go, right? But I think that's a starting point. It's finding people who give you energy, who you feel amazing about when you're done talking to them, and then trying to find some kind of project to work on together, to be around ongoing.
Sweet. Next one, I kind of lost it, but I remember. What was the topic for today, Evan? I guess they decide about the topic, right? Everybody can ask anything they want.
Put your questions down below. We'll fire through as many as we can while I play a game of League of Legends and hopefully win. I'm in my promos, actually. So the way this works is there's different levels. I want to get to gold. I'm in bronze. If I win these games, I get to silver.
Silver and then gold.
if I lose, then I fall back. So these games right now are actually like pretty high pressure, super important.
So pay attention there.
Yeah.
Aspasian asks, in Greece, we are quarantined. I'm bored. Oh, actually, it's not a question.
Don't be bored. What, do you have a dream? Do you have a goal? Go chase it down. This is the time to get ahead. While everybody else is sleeping and being lazy and, you know, going through their alarm and just slacking off watching Netflix all day, this is your chance to actually work on the thing that you want to build to bulletproof your business and transform your life. Now is the time. Don't be lazy. What? If you have dreams, goals, ambitions, now is the time that you get ahead.
Louis asks, what are your expectations about the coronavirus as an entrepreneur? So I do believe that it's going to bring, like, the economical impact of it, I think, is going to be way bigger than what the actual damage the virus will do. And I know, you know, we're still probably pretty, I guess, at the beginning level of what's going to happen with the whole economy. But I think now a big difference will come. So what you can expect, I guess we should rephrase the question in terms of what you can focus on to actually maybe make a difference in your current business model, maybe add a different online component to it if you don't have it, maybe kind of pivot to some new ideas, new strategies to bring it online. Doesn't matter exactly what you do, it's a way for you to pivot. So I guess in terms of expectations, you should also pay attention to who was buying your products and services before, because that customer, that consumer, all of a sudden is going now through some times that you may need to adjust your messaging a little bit. You may need to adjust the way that the products are being delivered. Like, for example, I know a lot of speakers, you know, public speakers that are being really bad impacted right now because they're not able to hold workshops and go to speak at events and things like that. So,
like this guy.
Yeah, Evan actually is
one of those speakers.
Yeah. So, you know, doesn't matter what business you're in, just find ways to kind of pivot and find ways that you can actually have an impact on, right? Like, whatever the business model is, I guess that should be the question. What are the things that you can work on to actually improve the kind of, you know, whatever likes to call it, like bulletproofing the business model.
You said that last week.
I said it, but you kind of emphasize it a lot.
You said it once, and I'm like, that's right. That's what Marion does. Yeah, I care less. I think less about the overall macroeconomic. What is Canada or the U.S. or whatever country you're from? What is the impact going to be on the whole economy? I care more about what are you going to do. And in every business, you could be taking steps right now to make your business stronger. So for me, I'm not speaking, right? Nobody's getting speakers right now. So I'm spending my time. This is terrible timing. Like, I'm supposed to be doing my book promotion. I'm supposed to be doing events, flying to people to be on their shows. Like, this is the time I need to be out promoting. So I'm doing my best with online stuff. And I spent the entire day today doing different people's shows, podcasts, interviews, all that stuff. Any extra time I have, back into making my YouTube course pop, because Marion's going to give me 8 more ads I need to work on. And like all the stuff that I need to do to move my projects forward. I look at TDS, my dance business. It's shut down. Like, the whole business can't do anything right now, right? At least for me, for my business here, I can work from home. I'm doing videos. I can still keep creating content, doing everything. But TDS, we can't host classes for weeks, right? That's the entire business right now. So, you know, Alex was devastated. He helps me run the business. And I said, okay, well, let's use it. Like, how are you going to use this time? Go recruit more instructors, because we need more instructors, and now you have time, go hire them. Go create the online content. We've been wanting to have online content of our material in case somebody misses a class. Now they can see that class. Or if somebody from St. Louis wants to take our class, now they can. If they had content that they can go and watch, right? Great, you got 2 weeks of doing nothing, 3 weeks of doing nothing, film the content, right? It's like, this is the time to get ahead. There's always something you can do. And the old adage of hustle while you wait, you're waiting, awesome, hustle.
Love it. Kara is asking, Evan, how do you stop living in your head and start doing? You can go straight to it because it was straight to you.
No, we back? Was that me or you?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah, yeah. It said poor
Okay. I don't know
connection,
what
and then
happened.
you were gone. Anyway, we're back. Any
Cool.
question goes to Marion first, so it's a Evan
How do
and
you,
Marion question.
sweet. How do you stop living in your head and start doing? I guess I'm always trying to, whatever I have here, sometimes I need to put it down. I'm usually the type of person that has a lot of ideas. I'm not necessarily the best at implementing it myself, but I'm really good at putting people into the best positions that they can implement. So for example, I'm just going to take right now like a funnel situation, right? If somebody has to do like a funnel thing, I would never start it myself from scratch. Like I have my guy, he's an awesome dude. He's in my team. He always pretty much starts and does kind of a lot, like almost 90% of the entire structure of the funnel. And then I go in there and make sure that, all right, is functioning the way that it has to, is the integrations done properly, is, the pixels and all the rest of the stuff, like the geeky stuff, it's in there, but I never started from scratch.
How did you find this guy? For people who are like trying to hire people, is he Upwork? Is he somebody you knew? What?
I think it was through a referral. If I track it back, so I've been working with him now for like more 2.5 years, something like that. At first, it was just a one-time thing. I give him one project. He did it awesome. He delivered it faster than he promised, whatever. And then we started to kind of talk more. And he said, "Hey, if you have more work, I'm ready to work." And I said, "Oh, cool, nice." And I give him a couple more projects, and then from there, I just realized that okay, I guess this is one of my kind of pluses. I'm able to see if somebody actually is good at something and then keeping him in that position. Like I wouldn't give him design work. I would never just say to him, "Hey, can you design like a logo?" Because I know that's not his skills, right? So I guess that's how I do it. I always try to put it on paper and then understand who is the best person to get this done fastest. Not necessarily the best at that time. We can focus on optimizing it and all the rest. But then making sure that it gets done that's my plus. That's the way that I do it.
So I'll tell you what I used to do, and I'll tell you what I do now. In terms of the question was how to get out of your head and into action mode, right? Yeah. So what I used to do quite heavily was live with regret. The idea that it was going to cause me regret. That if I don't do this thing, like if I don't listen to Marion and implement this final strategy right now, that this is going to be the greatest thing of all time, and that I'm screwing myself over, and I'm going to regret it my entire life. And I'm going to be 95 in my retirement home looking back and saying, if I only listened to Marion, everything would have been different. And I put so much pressure on myself from that it forces me to do the thing, because you're not doing it because you're afraid. And so I create even more fear in the future that I'm going to regret it. And so it forces me to have to go and do something. That's what I used to do quite heavily. Like really a lot. I would every time I came up with an idea, that's what I would run it through. In the past, maybe 2 years, I haven't done that at all. And I've just taught myself, I go from idea to action. Like default to thinking, if I came up with the idea, then it's genius. And then I'm going to do something. Right? And just being willing to test it on a smaller scale. Test it small, see what happens. And then if you like it and it's going well, you expand it. If you don't, you move on. Because the list of ideas that you get as an entrepreneur is only going to get bigger, right? Like your list is not getting smaller anytime soon. It's just going to keep getting bigger. So the way to actually shrink it down is you start tackling them, you start implementing them, you start taking action on them. And so just teaching yourself that as soon as you get an idea, it's amazing. It deserves a little bit of attention. See how it goes. And then be willing to put up something that's not fantastic just to test it and see if you like it.
Sweet. How to revive your YouTube channel in the economic crisis? I guess now the YouTube questions start to get in. I guess it's this thing, because I remember last time you said, I don't know why I'm never getting YouTube questions with the other host every time.
We had a lot of funnel questions and stuff with the last time around. I liked it. It's good.
Sweet. So how to revive your YouTube channel in the economic crisis? Well, I guess this can go straight to you. Now what I'm doing, what I just did recently was, I didn't want to be doing just another coronavirus video. So I really strategized a little bit the way that I talk in the video, because I know it's the #1 trend on Google and YouTube and whatever. I guess, I don't know now, a couple of days it was. So my channel was more on, grow your business with funnels, digital marketing, stuff like that. So I really focused on kind of give strategies around that aspect within the coronavirus trend. But I didn't want to just be another coronavirus video, because I know there are like millions over there, right? And people start to like really not liking them. You don't want to just fall into the same thing. I guess for me, what I'm doing now is I'm structuring everything based on data. I'm just looking at whatever people like and just creating more of that. I did the big mistake of trying to create content that I thought people love, where until
they didn't love it.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were all unsubscribing. And then I just looked at the data after talking to you and Jeremy, and I realized like, okay, that's the type of videos that people like. Keep doing more of that, period. So don't pay attention to what you like, pay attention to what people like and what they feel is really valuable. Like I never thought that the whiteboards are really good videos until I did them, and I saw that they like that.
Yeah, and listen, it's got to be a mix. You have to love it, and it has to have be getting some results. But I love everything that I make. I was just on a call earlier today with somebody who's got a fairly well-known person. His channel's growing. He's not known for YouTube. He's known for being an author and a speaker and a lot of other things. And they love their thumbnail design. Like, listen, it's not working. Like, look at the data. It's a really bad click-through rate. You have to fix it. And I'm not. There's like, well, should we use yellow or should we use? It's like, try it. There's no one color that's going to work. It has to match your brand, and it needs to be something you're comfortable with. But I'm not here to say something is, like, in my opinion, good or bad. I'm here to tell you, you have to test it. This is what I found works, and I want you to learn from data that works as opposed to just you do it because you like it. Right? I think that's where a lot of people mess up. What to do now in the crisis with YouTube? Create. Well, you could start. You're at home. You're in quarantine. Like, get your phone out and start filming. What are you waiting for? Right? So many teams, like all the late night shows and everything, they're just filming from home on their couches and still making content. Get out there. If that's your goal, to be a YouTuber, what's your excuse for not creating content right now? This is the time that everybody needs to be off making it, where you have a little bit more freedom, where you may not be as tied down to everything else that you're supposed to be doing normally because your work is closed or what have you. So this is it. Go out, make.
Maria says, yes, surround yourself with positive people that have your goals and dreams. 100%.
I like it.
Let's see. I am Daxi. That's awesome. Thank you, Value Energy. What's up, my man? In Greece, we're all quarantined. All right, let's go. Bex Mallorca, should you remove your money from the bank with the coronavirus around? I guess the question falls more into if you have a lot of money into savings, should you remove it from the bank with the coronavirus around? I guess, number one, I don't necessarily like to give expert advice on something that I'm not an expert on. Now, it all depends, I guess, at this point of what kind of money we're talking about, right? Like if you have $10,000 versus if you have, $1 million in savings, at that point, it's a big difference in terms of how would you look at, hey, do you leave all the money? And of course, it's good to have like an emergency fund or have some sort of savings that you can always access, right? For a long time, a lot of people were just teaching, hey, cash flow is king, cash is nothing. Well, all of a sudden, with what's going on now, cash has a lot of value because, you know, if you have cash, you can buy different assets, look at different things. Now, if you have a large sum in the savings, you probably want to take a look more closely and see what ways you can probably make an impact with that money, right? Because if you just keep it in your bank account, in a savings account, it's probably not going to do too much anyway. Like, it's not like, you know, the interest that you get on it, it's not really that good. So regardless of, I guess for the sake of this question, regardless of the amount, just sitting it in, keeping it in the bank, unless it's something, you know, super low, it wouldn't make a huge, huge difference, in my opinion.
What was the question? Should they take the money out of the bank account?
Should you take the money from the bank account with the coronavirus around? I guess it was more on, hey, if I have savings in the bank account, should I keep it there or should I take it? Like, the, you know, in terms of how, like, what to do with the money that you have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried about a bank run. At least me personally, I'm not taking money out of the bank just to have it as cash. I don't know what you're worried about. It's either, you're either worried that, like, you're not going to get access to the money, there's going to be some major bank run, or you're going to need massive amounts of cash for something. I mean, I'm not worried at all about that. I haven't seen anything that would cause concern for that. So.
Dax is asking, what's your thoughts on how important content in a time like now when everyone is in quarantine? Yeah, I guess in my opinion, now is the perfect time. Now, of course, I guess it all depends on the type of content, but now is the perfect time to creating on it, because I guess a lot of people will go into consuming mode and just either go on YouTube and start to find, to go and search for more information and consume and get ideas of, like, all right, how, like, what can I do to actually make more money or save more money or whatever the, you know, whatever the kind of topic that you're talking about. But Dax, I know you are in the content creation, podcast production type of business. So now I guess everybody can benefit from what you talk about. So all your episodes, if you do videos, for example, on how to create your podcast, how to launch your podcast. I know you work with some big names on launching podcasts. So yeah, I guess everybody can use this time to create a podcast. And now, because you talk about that, I guess it's a really good idea for content creation around that topic, because it's something that people can learn as a skill and even apply it after the crisis is gone. So the question was, what's your thoughts on how important content is in a time like now?
Yeah, I think you want to be conscious of what kind of content you're making. But everybody's home. Like, nobody's making. Normally, when you're up against content, you're looking at sports content. You're up against you know, the NHL and the NBA and all the other sports leagues, and even League of Legends. Like, League of Legends shut down. Normally, you could watch their games online and shut down. You can't watch the pro games. You can't go to the movie theaters. You can't go to the bar. There's basically everybody's just staying home. What are they staying home and doing? They're on YouTube. They're watching Netflix. They're listening to podcasts. They're just doing the things that are, you know, available to them. So that could be you. You have a tremendous opportunity right now that if you make content to get exposure that otherwise you would never get exposure to. So do you want that? It sounds like a pretty good idea.
Somebody's asked, what can I do to get out of debt? I guess it also depends what do you use the debt for. If you're using it to make money, you probably, you know, like, for example, I'll get myself as an example in here. If I go and take debt to be able to get a house and then rent it, if it's making money, it's not bad debt, right? But if you're going out there just to get a debt to get a nice car so you can impress some people, well, that's a really bad idea, because it's not going to help you long term. I guess if you can make the debt to work for you and not against you, you don't necessarily, you know, have to think about it that much. But in terms of, if it's just, maybe it's school debt, right? Like, if it's just because you went to college and now you got debt, I guess it's just a matter of time and really focusing on how you can, you know, make more money to go and pay it off So I guess it's gaining more skills, especially now, right? What are the skills that people are looking for during this time? So master those skills, content creation, podcasting, YouTube, video editing, all that stuff. It's definitely super. Course creation, funnel building, website design, all that stuff is like great skills to learn, so you can make more money and then pay off the debt, right? It all depends what kind of debt you have. If you can make it work for you, it's not going to be a bad idea.
Yeah, think about where you can bring value, right? I think entrepreneurship is one of the best ways to do it. It's hard to get a $50,000 raise at a job, but you can make 50K extra as an entrepreneur. So being your own boss, being an entrepreneur, and using now as a time to think, I've got a little bit of extra downtime. How can I use the skills that I have, the knowledge that I have, the things that I want to get better at to bring value to the people, mostly in an online environment, at least for right now, and get paid to do it. But that's the fastest way out of debt, is find a way to bring value. Like the number one rule about money is bring value. If you're bringing value to people, you want to make a lot of money, bring a lot of value. You want to make money quickly, bring value quickly. Right? Find someone who's got a need, bring them value, and get you paid.
Marion, are you from Romania? Yes, I am.
What's the giveaway? Is it the name? Is it the accent? What is it? What's like the dead giveaway?
What is it? Oh, I guess my name.
The name, right? Because the accent is just...
it can be from
European. It could be anything, right?
European, it can be anywhere.
Yeah, okay. So the name.
Evan, have you got a publishing company yourself? If not, how about making one?
I have. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go for it. I was all set to answer. I was not happy with that question. Keep going. You answer it, and then I'll go mine.
So, I'm not. Yeah, like I definitely don't have any thoughts into making one, and I guess it's not. It's just not my. It's not my my forte, I guess.
Yeah, I have no interest. I do not have one, and I have no interest in having one. This is where you have to decide between you can do everything, but you don't want to do everything. You have to figure out what you actually want to get great at, and then work with the people who are great at the thing that they do. So even like working with Marion on my ClickFunnels stuff for my YouTube course, I could learn it. It's just going to take me forever, and I'd rather not, right? Like Marion's an expert. He's great at it. Why would I bother worrying about it? And instead, I can focus on what I'm great at. And so Marion's great at it. He's crushing it. And maybe it leads to more opportunities in terms of use my example with the YouTube course as a case study for what other people should be doing, right? So it's just a way better investment of my time to work with someone like Marion and get what I need, get the results that I'm looking for, as opposed to me trying to figure it all out myself. Publishing companies, it's a brutal business to be in. Like publishing sucks right now. The people who are selling big books, they're making money off of other stuff. Speaking gigs, courses, to Marion's point, right? Upsells, bonuses, not actually selling the book. So and you have to really have a deep love for publishing to really want to do that, because you're in a business that really sucks.
I guess we have a lot of Romanians today on the call. Got a couple Marion empowering Romanians. Awesome. How do we come out from bad habits? Ooh, this is a good one. So I guess, when you do something, doesn't matter what it is. If you do something and then it has a bad influence on you, doesn't matter if it's on your body, right? Like let's say a bad habit is to just eat crap, right? Like if you eat crap for a month, you're going to realize that you're going to start looking bad. So if you realize that, then you're gonna
start looking bad. That's amazing.
You're gonna start making something about it, right? But if you don't, you'll make a mistake, something happens, and then you realize, and then you fix it, right? It's not necessarily a long-term bad habit, but if it happens and you're not making a decision and you're not actually executing against it, at that point you have to really understand, like, okay, like what is it that doesn't make you want to change it? Like, doesn't hurt that much. Like if it's, I don't know, you can probably list some bad habits in there. If it's just spending money on stuff that you don't need, that's a bad habit right now. Like if you spend money on crap that you don't need, right now it's going to hurt you, right? So then you're going to fix that bad habit. If it's eating stuff that doesn't help you stay productive, doesn't help you stay energetic, you're going to have to change that. So the way to do it is you have to understand it doesn't just affect you, it also affects the people around you. It can affect, your family, your coworkers, your employees, if you have employees, maybe your everybody that's in your inner circle. It's going to get affected. It's a ripple effect. It's not just a one-time thing. It's going on and on and on.
I think it's almost always having a strong enough reason why you want to switch. The path to getting out of most bad habits is pretty explainable, right? I mean, you want to lose weight. There's lots of ways to do it. It's not that it's that difficult a plan. It's hard to execute because you need a lot of discipline to do it. But you eat less crap, work out more. You're gonna lose weight. It's gonna happen. There's tons of programs and exercise classes and everything you can go to. It's just people don't have a strong enough why. What's the reason? Why is it so important that this thing happens? And more importantly, now. Like, why does it matter now that you make the change? A lot of people have great ideas, great ambitions, especially entrepreneurs. You can do amazing things, but it's just not important enough to you now. Like the people who are sitting back during this time right now and not creating and not making stuff and not having the impact they want, like it's not going to get any easier. This is your time. This is your moment. You need to be pushing hard right now. So it's tapping into why. And I think a big way to do that is to use regret, right? So you look out 10 years. Imagine if in 10 years you're in the exact same spot. 10 years, you haven't grown. You're in the same position you are now. Like, hopefully that's painful. And that forces you to then say, I need to do something about this because this is not acceptable and I'm going to start right now.
Fact. I'm sorry. I've just started a podcast focusing on serving entrepreneurs and connecting them with their people. Is it wrong to do it for free while I develop my credibility or mobilize? I guess it was monetized now. So if you started a podcast, the podcasts are free. I guess what you wanted to say is what is the right time to monetize it? Doesn't matter what it is, especially if it's an interview show type of thing. You'll have to give it away for free because that's what podcasts do. Like, they're for free, people listen to it, and then you can have calls to action within the episode. At the beginning, you can do a link or a text form, and you can collect leads, or you can transform it at some point in time into a summit, into an online summit. Right now, they're pretty big, virtual summits. Like, you can take the interviews from a podcast and maybe do a share screen. So, for example, a model that I'm doing right now, I have a lot of interviews with a lot of people, and some people said yes to do a share screen explaining the strategy that they talked about in the podcast episode, and now showing the actual tactical part on a share screen on Zoom, and then we put that into a virtual summit, and then that can be sellable, right? So yeah, in my opinion, you should definitely do it for free. It comes with credibility, authority, and all that if you are interviewing people, but the podcast has to be for free, unless it's not called a podcast if you charge for it.
Yeah, the question is, when do I start charging for it?
Yeah, I guess the question was, so I've started a podcast focusing on serving entrepreneurs. Is it wrong to do it for free while I develop my credibility, or try to monetize now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If you can bring value, then you can start charging for it. Just, can you bring enough value? If you have no credibility and you can't bring value, then no, then you're doing it for free. You're building stuff up, and I would really go and look at different ways while you're in the startup phase of your podcast. Really understand the ways that different podcasters are monetizing their brand, and then see what fits the best with you. So Marion gave you a couple options. I wasn't even thinking about the screen share virtual summit idea, but it's great. Like, it could be. Why not? It could be coaching. You could become a consultant, right? It could be you sell affiliate products that are related to whatever market or industry that you're in, that you believe in, right? Once you have people's attention, there's a lot of different ways to monetize it. First step is getting people's attention. So worry about that at the beginning. And then as you have their attention, you start selling it. But it's never, I wouldn't say it's wrong. It's more like, is it going to work? Do you have enough, do you have the credibility that you're looking for? And have you done enough of the prep work, I guess, to get the people on board that you need?
What is the best way to network and add value to influencers and coaches? In my opinion, two ways. You either have a skill that they can that it can be beneficial to them, or two, have a platform like a podcast when you interview other people, and you know, that's another way to do it. So I guess number one, do you have a skill that you can help the other person, and then you start the conversation like that. Yeah, that's the way that I reach out to Evan, basically. He posted something on his story about ClickFunnels. Hey, I need some help with where I'm struggling.
True, right? Yeah, I forgot how we connected.
And then I sent the message to Evan. I said, Evan, I can help you with your ClickFunnels. Let's connect. Let me know, you know, we can jump on a quick call or something like that. Evan was like, can you do it now? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then we chatted for like 10 minutes. And that's how we got connected.
Yeah, so I like that. Following that, what I would do is build a list of the 50 people that you want to be in business with, that you want to know your name, that could help move the needle for you. That'd be cool to say that you work with them, right? Like, who are the 50 people? And then follow them on Instagram, follow them on Twitter, see what they're posting on their content, and look for ways to help them. It's all about timing and getting them at the right time. So to Marion's example with ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson, a year earlier, so Russell Brunson is the founder of ClickFunnels. Russell Brunson, a year earlier, invited me to some big football game to join him and a bunch of other influencers to see the football game and party and VIP, blah, 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 all this stuff. I'm like, I don't use ClickFunnels. I'm not going to that thing. Like, thank you so much, Russell. Appreciate you, man. Best of luck. You know, and just, he sent me a personal video DM, and I politely declined because I didn't care about ClickFunnels at the time. It had zero importance to me. And then all of a sudden, when I was in San Jose, California, last year on my tour, ClickFunnels became the only thing that I cared about. The only thing. Right? So that's how quickly it can turn around. And so I then went and I put it out on my Instagram and I think maybe a couple other spots. And Marion wrote back. And he said, hey, I do ClickFunnels, I can help. And listen, a lot of other people wrote to me too afterwards. Like, Marion was the first. It was like I was sitting there in the coffee shop thinking about it, typing it into Instagram, posting it, and then like a couple minutes later, Marion wrote back and he's like, hey, I'm happy to hop on a call with you. I said, great, let's do it right now. And he said, yeah. And if he didn't either reach out at the right time, or he said, oh, I can't do it right now, how about tomorrow? It would have been somebody else. Yeah, exactly.
Somebody else would have said, yeah.
It would have been somebody else, because it was so important to me that it was going to happen. It was going to happen. There was no way that was not going to happen today. I became obsessed. And there's enough people who know enough about ClickFunnels, and I would find a path to then get the person. Would they have been as good as Marion? I don't know, but it doesn't matter because I had Marion. And then everybody else who reached out to me afterwards, it's like, oh, thanks, man. I'm already working with somebody, right? So now maybe that was just luck. Like, maybe Marion's like, oh, I kind of like this guy. I like just happened to be there, and great, whatever, right? But you can force that, right? If you're following, pick the 50 people who you really would love to work with, and then follow them and pay attention to what they're doing and what they're up to. And most of the time you won't be able to help, right? Most of the time, like, they're ahead of you on probably many areas of business and life. So most of the time you'll have nothing to help with them with. But then every now and then something pops up. Maybe you're the guy, right? Like, Marion is the guy. Marion is the guy who does ClickFunnels. So Marion could help me and he could hop on a call right now. But maybe Marion doesn't know anything about ClickFunnels, but he knows that I need somebody who knows ClickFunnels. And he has a buddy who knows ClickFunnels. And he arranges a time for me to meet his buddy, and his buddy saves my life, right? if that happens, guess what? I'm in love with Marion because he's the one who made the introduction, right? So it's constantly paying attention to what are people looking for, what do they need, how can you then help them, whether that's you directly or making an introduction to somebody that can help solve a problem for them.
Yeah, that's the second one. Actually, I never thought about it, but that's a really good. It's a really good one to be the connector to some other person that actually knows. Yeah.
By default, like you have to. So always ask what they're looking for. And even for my friends, I'm always doing it. Like I think of when I first had Lewis Howes on my show, it was way back, and I asked him, hey, who's on your dream list? Like, who are you trying to get on your show? And he listed a couple people, and then I reached out to my agent and said, hey, I'm trying to get this guy for Lewis Howes' show, and do we have any contacts? And the answer was no, and I didn't have a path that could help, but I tried. Like it's the default thinking that I want to try to make this happen. You know Charisma on Command, the YouTube show?
I don't think so.
Charisma on Command is a YouTube channel. It's got 2 something or 3 million subscribers where they break down what it takes to have charisma. And the founder, his name is Charlie, and I had known him for a little bit, but the first time I met him in person was at a YouTube event called ClimbRCon, which is in California. And when I met him, I found out some things about him. Like he wanted to have his own show. He wanted to have his own book. I'm asking, just listening. What are you trying to build? What's next? And so then, you want to have a book? Awesome. I'll introduce you to my literary agent. She's looking for people with big YouTube channels to do a book with, right? Then I met somebody else who was doing interviews with people. It's like, hey, do you want to interview Charlie? He's got a channel with 2 million subscribers. He can probably give some value. And then I introduced them and they did the interview. And then there was a show. There's a guy who's doing a pitch on raising capital or something, which is what he wanted to do. So I said, hey, maybe you should hop in on that session because he's gonna. I wasn't even thinking about it. It's just by default trying to help and give. And then Charlie later on goes and makes a video on his channel talking about how I met this master networker, Evan Carmichael. It's like, me? I'm like the most introverted person of all time. You think I'm a master networker? That's crazy. And then when I saw the video, I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I kind of am, right? But all it really is just listening to what people care about and then trying to help them. And you may not know them, but you can still listen through social media because they're sharing a whole bunch of stuff that they care about, and maybe you can help.
No, that's a pretty cool scenario. How do you trust doing business with an illustrator online who's out of the country? I hire people from all over the world. It's rare. Like pretty much my entire team is virtual. So I got people in Afghanistan, India.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm trying to think. Philippines, Romania.
Romania, of course. Come on.
Yeah.
You're Romanian. Show some
and
love.
then Lithuania too. So I guess the way that
what?
like,
oh, Lithuania. How do you
Lithuania.
say Lithuania? Is that how you pronounce
Lithuania,
it?
yeah.
Lithuania. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm learning.
So how do you trust them, right? Well, right now it's pretty much everything that I need. If it's not within the people that I already work with, it's rare that I go and post maybe a job offer on Upwork. But usually what I used to do a lot of times is I would post a job offer and then I would put a note saying, record a 1 minute or a 2 minute video telling me why I should hire you. Now, of course, if you just need to get a logo done or you just need to get, I don't know, just a cover done, you probably don't need a video from that person. But usually the job descriptions and the tasks that I need them were mostly, every month, so things, I need somebody that I can trust with funnel skills. I need somebody that I can trust with maybe copywriting skills. I need somebody that I can trust with, all kinds of different things. Maybe my YouTube channel, doesn't matter what it is. So that's why I needed that. I needed a video from them. Number one, to see that they pay attention to details. So out of 100 applicants, usually only 6 to 10 were actually doing the video. So I realized, okay, 90% of people don't pay attention to details because they don't read all the way, through the task description. So that's why they don't do the video. And out of the 10, maybe I would interview all 10 of them, and then out of 10, I would give 3 of them a shot to the actual job offer. So I guess it doesn't matter where they're from. At the end of the day, it's just a matter of how they can deliver. And another way to look at it is look at the reviews that they got, but pay attention, because a lot of them can be kind of, planted. So kind of do your due diligence a little bit and understand that, even if they have 2 to 10 reviews, it doesn't make a huge difference. If they have like 50 plus, then those are probably harder to fake.
So I have a maybe weird hiring process or working with people. I love just starting on something and I love giving people a shot and just seeing. So when I'm posting to Upwork, we'll have some qualifiers. Like I always ask, hey, in your first line of your job proposal, tell me how many followers I have on YouTube, right? So that immediately takes out 80% of the people, because they don't even read, to your point, don't even read the ad. Awesome. But then from there, I don't look at their bio at all. I don't look at their reviews at all. I don't care if they can make a video. I just hire them on a project. And we start working together. And I'll hire them on, because often you're training the wrong thing. I don't do any interviews. I think you're often training the wrong thing. Like somebody's ability, if I'm hiring somebody if you're looking at Marion's ClickFunnels guy, somebody's ability to make ClickFunnels and set up all the tech in the proper way and all that, their ability to ace an interview is 0, right? Like that's not what you're hiring for. You're hiring for the wrong skill. You're not hiring somebody to be a great communicator. Now, if they're gonna be a salesperson for you, that makes a lot of sense. But a lot of these guys are introverts and shy, and English is a second language, and they're super nervous. And like, I don't need you to go in front and meet clients. I just need to know that I can work with you and that you know what you're doing. So after the skill testing question, I give everybody a paid up to 5-hour job that I think should take 2 hours. So I think it should take them 2, but I'm gonna pay them for up to 5. 1, to see if they're milking me, right? So if they take the full 5 hours, you're either slow and I don't want you, or you're cheating me and I don't want you. And I've got off cheap because I only spent 5 hours instead of hiring you, right? Next, what I love doing is then seeing how well did we work together, how well did it all work out, and then again, like giving people opportunities. So even what happened with Marion, when Marion messaged me, he's like, I know ClickFunnels. Great, can you hop on a call? Like, no checking of his website or his bio. Like, it could have been anybody. Some guy from Romania has messaged, I don't know. Great, let's hop on a call and see how it goes, right? And then it's how well do you work together? So I liked the vibe. I liked him. I liked what he had to say. It seemed to make sense. I don't know. I'm not a ClickFunnels guy. I know a lot more than I used to when I sat down with Marion for the first time. But here's a guy who's in my community, who's willing to help, who can hop on a call right now. So let's go, right? And then I'll just trust by default. Like with Marion, he'd have to show me that he's not trustworthy as opposed to having to earn the trust. And maybe that's the difference between cultures. But that's how I find people, by actually working with them and seeing how it goes.
I got to take some of that stuff and implement myself too. I definitely love the fact that, so out of, let's say you said 80%, you take out the rest 20%. So you actually hire, if it's, 10 people at once, you actually want, okay, cool.
I'll hire 10 people on a trial, and then I'll see who already, like if you want to hire somebody to work on graphic design for you, what's most important is 1, can they get the graphic design that you want? But 2, how do they work with you? You won't know how they work with you until you actually start working with them. Like it's coronavirus time right now. I want the guy who's still working. I mean, unless you have some crazy family emergency happening, great. I'm working. You're quarantined. What are you doing at home? Are you working? Are you chasing down jobs, right? So you'll figure out by working with them, do they ask good questions? Do you like their work ethic? Do they give you a lot of complaints anytime you ask for a change, right? You don't know until you start working together. So I think the best way to actually test that is to just start working together. And again, I don't know how long everything should necessarily take. So that's why that's why I hire 10 people or 20 people, because
And then you compare.
yeah, and like a big problem when hiring is you feel like you only have one option, and then you're stuck with this person who's just okay. Because if that doesn't work, then what? Then you have to post a job all over again, right? And you don't want to do that. It's so painful to post a stupid job.
No, it's so much cheaper to do it this way than to just get stuck with somebody that's gonna. Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah, I think at least it's awesome. And then what I always end up with somebody, what I'm looking for is somebody who's going to go beyond what I asked them for. So if I look at Christina, for example, when I posted my Upwork ad for a video editor, I said, hey, I'm looking for a video editor. She answered the questions and all that, and like lead with the vision and all that stuff. So you get people who actually, love your brand, and they're not just applying because it says video editor. But from there, I said, okay, here's the trial job, up to 5 hours. Here's my videos. Here's how I normally film it. And I would give her an example of how I normally filmed it. And Christina was one of like 15 people that I hired. Like I didn't even look at her bio, whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares? And then she came back to me and she made the videos and she said, hey, Evan, here's the video that you asked me for. I did it exactly like you wanted. But then here's, the problem is the way you want it isn't actually very good. And here's what I would do, right? And it's like, great, you're an actual video editor. I'm just hacking stuff together. And she gave me something that was way better. I'm like, I like this girl, right? Let's go. And often, like if I did a video interview with her, she would have failed. Her English is decent, but she would have been nervous. If I asked her to write something, it probably wouldn't have been the best of the people that came out. But she's by far the best person, and now is worked with me for 7 years, 8 years, I don't know, a long time. So
no, it's awesome.
It's a good process.
I love working with Chris because every time when I send her stuff regarding your ads, she's like always on point. So yeah, when I heard you saying the last time that you guys been working together for like 7 years, I'm like, damn, that's a long time.
Well, she's getting turned around to you, but we also publish 6 YouTube videos a day.
A day, yeah.
A day, right? So she's in charge of all of that too, on top of stupid Marion giving me more editing to do. Are you kidding me? Right? Like it's so easy to complain. Like, I have all these videos I need to put up, right? Like, yeah, and like she doesn't complain about it. She just does it, right? And so I think that's what's great. I mean, at least if you want to work with me, that's great. And she would have probably failed out on a lot of the typical tests. Jay Rise, who you met in Toronto, when you came, I met him when he was homeless. He slept in my office. I gave him an office to sleep on. Like he slept on my floor when I left.
Wow.
Yeah. On paper, he would have failed everything. You want to work with me, and you like can't even, like when he came out to the event that I had on, he was you had like $10 left in his pocket. Crazy.
What a story, yeah.
Yeah, and I love those stories. And I hire a bunch of misfits. And I think it's actually better than I think the hiring process is broken for most people.
Is it bad to start a business in another country? I guess it all depends. If you live in that country, if you're used with the infrastructure, if you're used to how the systems work. Like, for example, I've never had a business in my home country. And my first business was here in US, right? But it would have been impossible for me to start a business here if I would have never been living here for not for a long time. I think I had like 2 years under my belt living here before I decided to do that. I guess the question is a little bit too broad. Nowadays, it doesn't really matter, especially if you start one online. You can be anywhere. Like you can be in Hawaii and have your goods being delivered to Germany. Maybe not at this point in time, like right at this, this week, this month, maybe this year, I don't know. But I guess it all depends. If you've been living there for a good amount of time and you understand, the legalities of it and what, how everything works, and you are able to get sales from that, like maybe, are you speaking the right language if you're in that country? Are you able to connect with people over the phone and sell maybe If not, are you able to hire somebody that's local and do the sales for you, right? There are a lot of different factors that come into place when starting a business in a different country. Is this possible? Yes. Is it bad? I don't think the question is really like, is it bad or not? It's not necessarily bad.
Yeah, it's just understanding the reason why. Like, as long as it makes sense, what's the thought process you're going into to think about it, right? And then from there, you can make a decision. It's typically a lot harder if you're not in the country that you're selling to, but there's options. So what are the reasons behind it? Just a little more context as to why you're thinking about making that move.
I see a couple of questions on what's the best business during this time. And I think not necessarily that it is wrong to kind of ask this, but I think it's more important to, right, like this goes into the broader aspect of it, like almost like what business should I start? I think first you should more kind of invest in yourself and understand yourself and what are the skills that you can bring to the marketplace. Because if 3 months ago or 2 months ago, or what, like probably even a month ago, everything seemed right, like the economy was in a whole different spot. If at that point was hard to start a business, now, you know, looking at what are the industries that you should go after, I think it's a little harder to think that way. It's more on what are your skills, what are you the best at, how can you bring value to the people, and can you do it in the current kind of economy and marketplace. From a technical standpoint, of course, everything that runs online now, it's the best, you know, video editing, funnel building, course creation, podcasting, and all that.
All the stuff Marion's doing. That's amazing.
I don't want to give that answer because I think then people will go, oh, so I can do that. But it'll take a little bit to get the skills to do it. So I think the question should be more into what are your skills? How can you really nail your skill to something that it's super valuable at this point in time? And everything that I mentioned, all of them are really good right now.
Yeah, I just think within whatever you already love doing, where's the opportunity, right? So for me, I'm making content, I'm doing IG lives like this. For Marion, it should be helping people bulletproof their business. Like, take what you're already doing and then find the opportunity within that, as opposed to just trying, because here's the thing, you say, well, how do I make a lot of money off the coronavirus? Great, well, I start selling masks, you know, start selling hand sanitizer, right? That's like where people default to go to. But then all you're doing is constantly just chasing opportunity and never actually building anything. Because even if you time it perfectly, you're going to end up with making a little bit of money off of some masks. And then what? What are you going to do next? You're never actually building anything. You're never working towards anything. You just now have to find the next opportunity that won't be as hot as the masks, right? And that may not pay off as much. So this is where I think a lot of people make a mistake with a question like that. A better one is thinking within the market that you're already doing, or things, whatever you have already a passion in, how can you use this time to profit and make more money?
Do you suggest self-publishing? So I'm not an author yet. I'm currently writing my book, and I'll definitely go with self-publishing. So Evan, you'll probably better to answer this. What's the difference between the two?
When's your book out?
So hopefully by end of next month.
Wow. What's the topic?
Momentum.
Okay.
And then, well, kind of the headline, I still have to dabble between the three that I have. But essentially, it's how to gain momentum in your life and business. And it's mostly focusing on I take my story and I apply it to different kind of markets, and then I go into businesses, like a specific, you know, this is how to kind of start it. This is how you grow it. This is how you kind of make sure you bulletproof it now, right? Like we have that component in it.
All right.
So
we lost, Marion. We lost.
Damn, again?
Unbelievable. Okay.
What happened the rest of the week?
Yesterday I went 3-0 with Jeremy.
Damn.
Monday, Tuesday, I didn't do it because we're doing book launch. So I didn't do it Monday, Tuesday. But yesterday, Jeremy went 3-0. He got me into my promotion. So now I need to win 2 of the next 3 or I don't hit my promotion. So bring us energy and love, Believe Nation. So we're gonna stop this, come right back. Round 2. Here we go.